Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and you're going to like our ideas today. I am so happy to have back with me. Oh, wow. Oh.
Backstage. Hello. It's good to see you all.
Hello, hello, hello. I don't know what's happening here, but let me fix this right now. I've got Alobar, and let me see if I can do it this way. There, how's this way? That's better. Yeah. Okay, I know what it is. I'm going to go to. Okay, I had to take that down. I had the Telegram channel going, and for some reason it was giving us like two things were running on it. So I just shut it off. And anyway, hi, everybody. Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to be doing this. They say Rumble isn't live. Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe it's going to take a little bit to catch up because we're doing so many different things at one time. Anyway, anything that doesn't go up now can be uploaded later, unfortunately, but hopefully it's going. Is your channel going, Alobar?
No, it's a new, this is a new software for me, so I still haven't had the time to really dive into it yet. So.
Okay,
so
well,
I might have to do it the old-fashioned way. But,
yeah, like I said, I haven't done this before, so we may have to perfect this. But let's get on with the show so that people don't get disturbed. We didn't have a whole lot of announcement because they've kicked me off of YouTube for a couple of weeks and got me on probation for 2 months, all the way into November. So if I get another strike, I'm in big trouble. But it's not going up there at all on my channel anyway, and so. I think the most important thing is try to be careful with our words. You can't say the V word. You can't say the C word. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, in America where we have free speech. Yeah, right. Okay.
And
if you believe that, I got some property, lakefront property.
Yeah, I know, right?
How weak have they got to be scared of big ideas, to be scared of people talking about the thing that we're talking about? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So,
why don't we, who wants to go first? It doesn't matter to me. It's frequently, you can give us your latest updates. Okay, ladies first, we'll start with Jen. Yeah. No, don't do that to me,
right? Well, I've learned a big lesson in the last 4 weeks. Spirit had me on an assignment and I put it off and put it off and put it off. And then 2 nights ago, they're like, boom, like you didn't get it done. So we're bringing everything downloaded right now. And I was like, I had to get it done. And then I had it posted in 12 hours to get the information out. So, and I know Gail has seen the information about the pyramids and the ley lines and all of that. And I'm like, whoo. So I've been working on that for a while. So it's pretty bad when Spirit channels your students and tells you to get your butt in gear and get it done. And you keep ignoring it. And they're like, okay, until the last minute, you're going to get it. Guess what? I did. So. But it was a pretty interesting download because a lot of what I drew and how things came in the way it did made sense, because like I said on my YouTube that, we listen to what people say, as we're young, we just assume things, but then we are not paying attention to the details that we need to be paying attention to. But as you put it together, then you're like, yeah, this looks different. So I've been, they've been talking about the ley lines and how I think can you get the pictures in there?
Yeah, I got most of them.
Okay. Why don't you present the ley line one and then the pyramid one, and we can go over that.
Okay. Okay, well, I have to, that's kind of weird. Okay, share.
I might just have a sneaky snack.
Undo, no content. Okay, I don't know why it's not coming up. I might have to, I got to pull you off the screen.
Hi, everyone.
For me to hold
Okay,
it.
Jenny. Yeah, I can't seem to hold it up there while.
Is he down too now?
No, he's here. He's here.
Okay. So let's just, so that's the ley line. That's, let me grab the other photos. Maybe that'd be easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I loaded them as in the background. I think I put them in the wrong place or something like that. The only way I can show them is if I take us all off the screen, and then I can pull it up briefly.
Well,
but
hold on. Thought I got them. Grab them. Okay. Okay, I got them. So then we went. Well, I got the pictures, so we can do that.
Okay, that might be a little easier. I think I.
Well, then this is the pictures of the ley lines for serpent mound ley lines, and they've been nagging me about these ley lines being connected to the pyramids, and I blew it off, and I'm like, "Well, you just want me to draw a pyramid and ley lines?" And I didn't think it was that exciting, so I guess that's why I didn't want to do it. And then it was all these energy points all over the world that they were showing that they're connected. It was a system that was used before, they said, and that no one's used it. It's been, dormanted. So, and this is another picture of the ley lines too in our world, and how the frequency moves and generates too.
On that picture, I noticed that a lot of those lines have numbers on them. What are the numbers? Is that just correspond to a certain area?
I'm sure it's on some frequency information or patterns that they work in, but I didn't look at that deal. I just got it off of Google for where they were exactly are. And then, so you got the ley lines, you're looking at the outer portion of it. And then they're like these pyramids. And like the top of the pyramid, and they've always talked about the crystals that were supposed to be at the very top of the pyramids. Okay, when those are activated, it's a different situation. We got a totally different situation. You have a frequency, whole circular system working in our world when that's activated. So, and the thing is in a 3D concept, we think that these things have been here forever. And then in the channeling session, they go, "Well, Jen, how do you think they got there?" And I thought, well, we're going by what man says, but yeah, that's usually wrong.
Yeah. Well, a bunch of slaves did it.
So then they showed me this concept. So this is,
I don't have that picture.
They were sent here. So we see them as dusty pyramids, but if we looked at it in 4D and 5D, we'd probably look at something different. See, it's the way our view looks at things and how things are attached. So, and this is one item that man cannot hide because it's too big and they can't move them, or they would have moved them already. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying that these pyramids and the ley lines are connected, and they've been connected for a while. So, and they were showing that, what's going on out in space, and showing me the circulation of the core of the Earth is starting to activate, and that's going to come to a certain potential of energy, and those things are going to be realigned, because they've always told me, and I live by a ley line, that these crystals are in them, dug down very deep, and it's not something man put in. It's something was separated at a certain time, and they then were put in these serpent mounts, and that those will come out on its own. So the thing was, that was like 6 years ago, and I ended up going to this serpent mound area, and they're showing me the color of the crystal, what was there. They even showed me the bodies that were there, because they do have some giant bones there. They have some native bones there. They went into detail on everything. So then I found these, and I got this stone cut, and showed me what it was covered in, how it came in, and this was the outer shell of it, and then the inside was different. So I did take that to a rock specialist, and they looked at it, and they wanted to know where it's from. I wasn't going to explain it to them. But, we're in a concept now. There's stuff going on, activity going on that's changing.
Well, when you talk about this activation, do you think that it is similar to the activation that's going on with the arcs?
Yes.
There's been a lot of talk about the arcs being activated.
Everything is in line. That's the whole thing they were saying. Like they said, do you think all of this was just sitting out there and it was not going to be attached to anything?
Well, yeah. I got a bit to say about that. Like that's called the Becker-Hagens grid. It's the first researchers to apply geometry to Earth were Becker and Hagens. It's I make the distinction between the Becker-Hagens grid and the ley lines, in that the ley lines hold human collective consciousness, and that everything that all of the humans think is a different grid network. The Becker-Hagens grid network is, at the moment, it's being used to store Gaia's ascension data. So as stuff comes from central sun and then gets transmitted through our sun, and our sun is behaving really wildly because it's transmitting so much information, and you're seeing flares, you're seeing all sorts of crazy stuff. And Gaia is uploading that stuff. Now, don't forget that light is information, and the optic fibers that make this particular communication possible prove that light is information. So as Gaia is downloading wholesale from the sun and going through all of the changes that she's going through, this is where that Becker-Hagens grid is where it gets downloaded to. That's the hard drive that's getting updated for Gaia, and all of the geometries. And geometries is the language of spirit, or it's one of them. As that gets downloaded into the geometric facet of Gaia, or the geometric part of Gaia, that's where she grows. That's where she becomes a better person. And there's a lot to say there, but lately she looks like she's just been in an intensive spa for 2 weeks and had like a 15-chain multiple orgasm to boot. She looks great. She was in the best mood ever because of the stuff she's downloaded. And she's growing and evolving at an incredible pace. Like, she's doing really, really well. Now,
so happy to get out of this mess.
It's been overdue, hasn't it? It's been overdue.
Yeah. So this is what I drew. So you see the core of Earth inside the core of Earth, and that's activated. Like they're showing me it's activated. And like I have had an experience with Gaia, and like she showed me at the core, at the deepest part of Earth, and being by a tree, and where that's at. So we're at a point that this is an activation mode, and now you got they said an outer energy coming in, and this core of the Earth coming in. At some point it's going to come together, and they said it's going to start to activate like it did a long time ago. So, and that's why the other day I'm feeling like shock treatments through my hands now. It's just like woo. So, and then when I went over to that ley line probably 2 weeks ago, I couldn't get that close to it because it was so bad. It was so strong that just like that thing like can throw you 50 feet if you got near it right now. I wouldn't even attempt to near it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's strong. I mean, I felt like it was getting zapped. So, at some point we have to go back online to where, it was completely was in the past. You know what I'm saying? At that point in the past, it was all in line and it was all in sync with the pyramids and everything together. It's going to go back to that again.
We're headed back in that direction already, correct?
Yes.
And everything's activating. The arcs are activating. The pyramids and ley lines are activating. The core of the earth is activating. I don't think we got long to go, do we?
No, I don't think it's only a few more months. I really don't give it 6 more months at the moment. The way things have been playing out upstairs, the what do you call it? The solar politics or Earth, what do you call it? Exopolitics. That's the word I'm looking for. The exopolitics at the moment is most of the bad groups are exiting. They're leaving. There's nothing left to win. Yeah, they're all exiting the planet. And
there's no more food.
Our latest mission out had the smallest.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, is what they used to say. I couldn't resist that story.
No, totally. Oh, well, our mission this week, our latest mission this week, had the lowest body count out of anything we've done so far because there's just nobody left.
Right. There's no food.
Right. They're all leaving. Like,
they have no food.
They have no food. Yeah, we cut off their food supply.
Yes, we did.
Or whoever did it, whoever was directly responsible. Thank you.
Yeah. There's lots of people doing that. But while you were talking about the connection between the pyramids and the Becker-Hagens grid, like the pyramids were built to integrate into the Becker-Hagens grid so that humanity has an interface with Gaia at that level. And some so-and-so took out one of the key parts of that circuit, the little tippity top of the pyramid, so that machine, that interface machine that is that pyramid has been switched. They took out a key part of the circuit, and so now it doesn't work.
And that's Nefertiti's. Nefertiti's had that, right?
Oh wow.
And
we should probably knock on her door and get the blueprint for that thing again, eh?
Well, I channel her all the time, and she's admitted where it's at, but it's a situation where it has to be hidden for a certain reason. If you don't want man to even get their hands on it in the first place, that too. So at this certain time, it will be seen.
Yeah, you don't want the guys who are running this show to get a hold of something like that.
No, you don't. And so they're making sure that man does not get a hold of it, period. And they're not going to give that door to be open to grab it until we are at a certain state, knowing that the negativity has nowhere in sight, and then it will be seen, because they've shown me on these pyramids, there's compartments over 3 pyramids. When you got 3 pyramids together, there's an energy compartment above it that we can't, most cannot see this compartment, so they've been showing me that for a while. So I'm excited about getting these things activated and, clearing everything out the way it needs to be done. So,
yeah, well, interestingly, like one of the key downloads from the 2012 ceremony, like I went out to Mexico to got myself in the ceremony with the Pope of the Mayan calendar crew. And when all of those, when all of their clocks struck 12, what they gave us was a blueprint of how Earth used to be before the interference, before the corruption.
Right.
And so we got that blueprint of how the Earth used to be. And like the first thing we did was spend several weeks on the beach loading these up into the grids. What you're talking about is going back in time to a place where Gaia and humanity were in sync. And that's what everybody wants. That's what Gaia wants. That's what the people who are in the know, that's what everybody wants. We want to go back to a place where humanity and Earth are connected through spirit, and we guide and shape each other's future. Like everybody's out for everybody else. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Like, so what you're saying is just dovetails perfectly into that. It's gold. Yeah, your channelings are awesome, Jen. I love it. Thank you.
Thanks. So I will show you guys. So this is Earth when we're at that point. You know, how it's changing. The atmosphere is going to change. This is one of the they call them the organic ships. You know, and these are massive. They cannot even understand how massive these are. So this is the keys. One of the keys, the energy coming out of the keys, and this is our planet changing colors and frequency and development at that stage. So all we're waiting for is energy to align, you know, and then this whole system be.
Well, when the energy aligns, are we assuming that the frequency is going to be raised and it's going to take us out of the 3D realm?
So here's the thing about this. So when they showed me the planet, and they showed me the ley lines, and then they showed me the pyramids, and they go, do you know that your planet can be moved with the right energy? So that would make sense.
That's funny that you're saying that, because I remember when they first started talking about the arcs activating, I'm sitting there thinking, I wonder if that can fly the planet.
Yes.
Somewhere.
So
you know what I mean? Or whatever.
It's blind, it can move. It's powerful enough.
So
you gotta get out of that, that 3D concept, but as everything's online and we're in that process, then it's us. It can go where it needs to. Our planet can go where it needs to be. So, so it's always thinking we're stuck in this time and space when we're not at all. If we have everything back in sync. So,
I think creator's making sure of that.
Yeah,
that it goes back in sync.
So, like, when I did drawings of these, was it 4 or 5 months ago? I did this one of the creator. So it was funny. So you got the root of the tree, which is down to the core of Earth. You have the planet, you have the energy, and you have the 3 pyramids. And then that energy goes up.
What 3 pyramids?
Right on the back of his cloak.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, I get it.
And then it goes into space. You go up, like these can go up. Energy can go up, and then you have the ultimate energy, and then you have the diamond that's connected to all of us and source. And we're going into the new energy. So I did this, 4 months ago. So everything, when you draw stuff, you put stuff together, it's always aligned in some way. You're like, this isn't going to work. But then you're like, oh, that just worked out. So it's just funny how things are in codes and they're never easy.
And speaking of codes, I heard today that we're getting codes from 12D thanks to Source, and they're coming through the sun.
Mm-hmm. The sun,
and they're coming down big time.
I see that information stream.
Oh, is that the head?
Yes, that's the head. That is creator. That's the back of him.
That's
the energy we're going to. Behind him is us as our souls following him into the new.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's kind of like he's leading us. If you think, now I'm seeing it. Yeah.
And then this is the. I couldn't do that. I had to redo this picture because I didn't show the front of his face because it's so confusing. Because, I tell people, you got to get out of the concept of the way humans look and the concept of humans, because you're never going to see these beings for what they are unless you can get past that. So then you have to look at, this is the diamond that's in the back of the head that we're all connected to, that spark. And this is I showed a side view because it's hard to understand the dimensional being and energy that flows out of the eyes and the information that flows out of the eyes. And that's what I was trying to express here. And this was a hard one to do because I was just like, no one's going to understand this. This is so confusing. But yeah, everything's energy. Every frequency is energy. Light is energy. so it's all dimensional. And so that's why here we're not working on helping people understand these are not going to look like humans. And so they need to get behind the veil and understand what they really are identifying and not to be in fear of it too. You know what I'm saying? But no one's talking about that. They think these beings look like handsome humans. It's just funny.
Oh, you're talking about because of some of the people and some of the pictures that they show of these.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, they've got a big word for it called anthropomorphization, and it's a big word for and it means like human beings don't want to relate to deities or spirits as deities or spirits, so they sort of superimpose human qualities onto them.
Right.
Yeah, and so anthropology, the study of man, anthropomorphization, and you've got morph, which is changing them to look like man. So it's a common thing. But if you look at spirits the way they actually are, you're right. There's so much more useful stuff,
Right.
However, like I flip between the two because sometimes, like I like to sit down on the sofa with this or that deity and have a cup of tea and see what they've got to say. And it's so much easier to sit across a coffee table from another human-like being than it is from the weirdness that the multiverse has to offer.
Or how about a big blob?
Yeah.
I've heard about them. Okay.
I'm not crazy, but when I feel like I'm talking to a crystalline being, I'm talking to a rock, I just kind of scratch my head and go, can you look like a human? And I'll just feel less weirded out.
Yeah, and that's just our veil of understanding. And that's why I teach my students that you accept them when you are in their area, and you just get your mindset ready to say, I will accept you at the form that you are, and that you feel comfortable appearing to me, because they do adapt themselves to our limited veil of understanding. And that's why people see it in different forms, because they know what you will be okay with and what you will freak out about, honestly. So, and that's why I always ask them to show themselves as they originally are. I'd rather see it as their original form, and I will accept it for the original form. So I prefer the original form.
Yeah.
Might as well get used to it anyway.
Look, it's archaic thinking that we have to talk to every deity as though they're a god, or
right.
that like Aphrodite, one of the goddesses of beauty. To see her as beautiful is kind of like a ridiculous thing, because she's nothing to do with, like, never been a human, doesn't know what it is to be human, never tried on a meat suit. Like, what are we talking about when we're talking about beauty there? I don't get it. But yeah, it doesn't mean, just because it's not necessarily a good idea, doesn't mean it's not popular to do that. Like, it's just how it is.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's, I just think that we're in this, I think it's a great process to be in and look and witness and watch 3D deteriorate in front of us and just go, okay, great. Let's move on. Hurry up.
Let's see the planet the way it was always meant to be.
Right.
Let's see humanity organize itself in a way that's sane. Let's see.
That's another thing. Yeah.
With basic principles like honesty and forthrightness and like living up to your word, and having your primary goal not about self-aggrandizement and self-enrichment, but actually to promote humanity as a whole, to only do good things that are good for everybody. Like, it's simple stuff, but wow.
What a concept.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine that. Imagine playing the game so everybody wins, Like,
yeah, really.
Right. Yeah. I just think we're, so I think as humans, we should be more advanced and more in line with this new energy coming in, but you still have a lot of people, and I'm saying in the spiritual community, that are still keeping them in that circle and still are walking them in the flesh situation. And those were seated here to get a certain job done. And I feel like they're dragging their butts doing it, where we should be at a certain level by now. And the ones that were supposed to come here and get it done are not doing their job.
Oh, look, we picked it up. Like, we picked up there are timelines where these events happen faster. There are eventualities where 6 months ago everything flipped and Earth is now turning into the paradise renaissance. But we missed that one, like we didn't get the frequency right to jump on that timeline. So instead we've had, and I will say, like, back in late 2020 and early 21, like, we were a hair's breadth from sinking into eternal darkness. Like, we were so close. The fighting was so thick. The fighting was so, like, they threw everything at us and then they threw everything again. Like, it was relentless, it was bloody, it was vicious, it was tenacious, it was nasty. And there's just so much of it that had to be done. But right now we're at a stage where, like, most of the groups who were doing and this private chat thing keeps jumping in front of the screen, so I can't see you guys.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's not you. It's a software issue. Where was I? Yeah, most of the alien species who are here to try and harvest Earth have their infrastructure's been so decimated that most of them packed up and left. Like, I think about 2 months ago, so the whole of humanity, I'll make this point and I'll get to what I want to talk about. Earth's a free will zone, so we can all manifest everything that we really want.
Right.
Humanity as a whole started to want to manifest two very different things that were really incompatible, like the technocratic control state and the freedom renaissance state. Like, these two worlds were so incompatible that Earth set up two timelines and a split so that it could satisfy everybody's needs, so that everybody got what everybody wanted. It's a technically challenging thing, but once that, and what the dark side were trying to do is they wanted to drag absolutely everybody into the technocratic control state.
Fat chance.
Well, it wasn't. It was a big, fat, ugly fail. And so now we've got a situation where about 30, 32, 33% of people will go to the Renaissance paradise world. And the timeline made a hard fork about 6 weeks ago, I think. And the world split. Like, you've already chosen to go this way or that way, and that's how it is. And
right.
This is, And when that decision was made, when that line in the sand was made, there was like a 10-day truce where all the bad guys going, fucking, we got nothing left to fight for. Like, we've already the ceasefire. As hard as we fight, we will not gain any more territory. There is nothing left to gain out of this. But these guys are so brain dead that after 10 days, one of those groups, the Chimera, decided to pick up the sword again and start fighting, because I still don't get why, and I still can't enter into their heads as to what's going on there, but they kept fighting. And as of a few days ago, like, all of their generals and colonels who had made such a mess of planet Earth packed up and left the planet. They left their troops behind with no orders. Like, they're out to save their own hide. They don't care what happens to anybody else.
Service to self.
And the reptilians, like 70% of them decided to go through a re-education process, and that's going along swimmingly. The other 30% have been showing up and making a nuisance of themselves. And the best, my favorite bit is that the king of the reptilians is currently in a witness protection program with the Galactic Federation of Light because the rogue reptilians want him dead, and so he's in hiding. It's like, you couldn't make it up, you know.
What a crazy! I used to call it, what a crazy world. It's a crazy universe.
Oh man, this story just couldn't be funnier. It just couldn't be funnier. And like so he's in hiding, and I can't say where. It's just so stupid on stupid, you know. The mantids who were proving to be a tenacious problem in that they just kept throwing numbers at us, even though, like, our firepower is incredibly superior to what they have. But, it's the only thing they have is numbers, and they can produce at an incredibly fast rate and very, 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 very quickly. They can replenish their numbers very quickly. But at least those guys had the sense to see that after the timeline fork, there was nothing left to fight for. And so they're logical beings, thank golly, and they've gone, well, we'll settle for that world, not all of the world, but we'll settle for that group of humans that we can use anyway. We'll settle for that. And they've more or less given up fighting as well. And so right now...
what's funny is occasionally I'll come across a very demonic energy. And this is what they said about some of the Hollywood souls that sold their selves. They're like, we as demons don't even want them. They've been traded out so bad. It's like, dang, that is bad when a demon doesn't even want your soul. That you are like worse than them. And that's what they said about a lot of the Hollywood.
Wow.
And I was like, what? He's like, we don't even want them.
It is a race to the bottom for those guys, isn't it? Like, how badly do they want to be famous? And the only way they can express how badly they want to be famous is by doing more and more depraved, ugly ritual, like just uglier stuff, Like they really want to race to the bottom, And you get Lady Gaga's latest album. She's on the front cover with little kids drinking blood. And it's going like, these are the and it's a photo, I think, from one of the parties that she goes to,
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, like it's at the end of as their Titanic's sinking, they're all trying to prove that they're the one that should be saved, that they're the one that should be rescued, But
no.
Sorry guys, it's a matter of time before your back's against the wall, the blindfold's on, and you're offered your last cigarette. We're not, it's over for you lot.
They are talking about total, there's the flesh, but then you have the soul, and they're just going to completely self-combust them and dismantle the soul completely.
Yeah. Not everybody knows, but not everybody gets reincarnated. Like some souls are out there making, like God just goes, that was a mistake. Whoops.
We can't have that.
Totally. Well, the mechanism is like this. Like they just keep running around creating so much bad karma. They're so fearful and so aggressive that their mindset is so backward that there's absolutely no possibility that they'll ever undo all of the karma they've created. None whatsoever. So they're only just going to keep creating more and more. And so rather than being reincarnated, they get recycled and disintegrated, and the parts get split up and cleansed and refitted to new souls. Like it's
that's like in pure darkness, trying to push a boulder up a mountain in darkness, and it never ends, right?
Yeah,
that's your own.
I wouldn't want that task.
No, what I'm saying, that's what it's got to be like.
And God turns around and goes, well, look, this is never going to work. You've reached your limit of bad karma, so we don't need you.
Yep.
And what's even worse is that some of those, I'll call them rogue souls, at death they avoid going into the system because they know they're not gonna survive it. So they're roaming around trying to break into other people's souls, trying to cohabitate other people's bodies. Like, this is nasty. It's horrible.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, but I have good procedure for that. We know what to do, and like they don't survive that procedure.
Well, most of it that when I deal with that issue, everything with that is identifying. Everything about that's the problem that humans have, is identifying their own energy compared to another one that's coming in. And if you have that discernment, they have no power to get into the vessel. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
but people will just take it in, and I'm like, identify. And so
filter a little bit, just try it.
Yeah. And then there's a stern voice within the center of the soul that a no, and that vibration with no fear is such a strong frequency of, they're like, forget it, never mind.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And like, the number one question that I ask people, okay, so you've got mental health, you got an issue going on, right? How much of your self-talk is in the second person? How much of your self-talk is saying, you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, nobody likes you? Because when it's in the second person, that's not your intelligence that does it. It's really, really basic, but it gets skipped over so often. Like, when you're talking in the second person, it's because there's another personality present within your body. Unfortunately, the voices are not distinguished between your voice, or the way that you talk, and the way that they talk, because they use the same, I don't know, call it a microphone system. Like, they use the same system. So the way they talk sounds like the way you talk. But if you can hear the word you, then you know. Right. And if you want me to sort that out, you know how to you'll figure out how to get in touch with me. Like, it's,
yeah, and the thing is like, I tell people, stay out of the left side of the brain, stay completely away. Any spiritual work is not put in the left, because that's all the doubt, the fear, all about control on that side. You go to the right, and they don't like getting into the right side, but they do love sitting in that left side and putting that doubt in. That's the biggest thing, is fear. They live off it.
Yeah,
their
totally.
Food.
It's and they stimulate a little bit of it. They push you into a little bit of fear, and then they will stand back and let your body generate 100 times more fear. Right?
Yep.
And they just soak it up. They love it.
Disgusting.
Yeah, no, it's nefarious, everybody's fighting their private battle, everybody's got their own private battle, their own drama like this to fight, and it makes me sad that as a species we can't identify that. Like, one of the key problems with humanity is that we don't even know what our problem is. We don't even get it,
Yeah, because if we're too focused on seeing everything in a flesh and not listening to the inner voice in a balanced way, and knowing what is positive and what is negative. And they, Spirit always says, put a dang blindfold on them so they can get into their core of their soul, and put them in the corner and say, the only thing that's left is spirit. And you got to trust the energy that you're getting, and making sure it's a clear channel of light.
Yeah.
So the way I teach them, I have to put them in that scenario, and then they reprogram themselves and trusting themselves and trusting their instinct, because it works. Because people don't want to hear, well, it looks like this spirit looks like that, this is what they look like. They want to see it for themselves.
Nobody cares. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's brain candy to see my demon's green, my green demon's red. It's not really, it doesn't make any difference. But once you can get face to face with them, it makes a big, big difference.
It does.
Kind of like Democrats and Republicans, really doesn't make a difference. Not that much anyway. Sorry, I said that. I didn't mean to bring in anything political. Because I'm
Sorry. Since we're outside of the States, I've got to tell you that the whole world is doing a facepalm about American politics. I can't believe this.
Yeah,
I know. Oh my God, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it? I'm sorry for you guys that this is what it looks like.
Yeah, I shouldn't even wear this hat. Yeah, but anyway, I know the soul of the people though. The when you get really down to the heart, that's more where people really are. They've just been programmed in so many nefarious ways. They don't even, and they're not aware of it. And I don't know why. I guess it's the programming. Someone compared it to said this was David Icke actually. He said he had a dream, and in that dream, people were falling out of the sky, and they were falling onto this path, and they kept falling. More and more people came. More and more people came, and pretty soon it was a huge rut. And the point of the entire vision was that even though our minds are wiped, deep in the very core of us, we still have that programming because we've been here over and over and over and over again with the same crap on, the negative stuff, and the church is there chiming right in. You're a sinner. You're a wretch. You're this. You're that. And it doesn't help. That definitely doesn't help. But anyway, that's a whole nother show. But so what else have you experienced, Alobar?
What else is going on?
Anything else in particular?
Oh yeah, no, we had a mission that was quite interesting. Like, are you guys familiar with what's it called? Not Black Mirror. It's called
Black Goo?
The Crystal Ball. No, it's a crystal ball technology. Crystal.
Oh, sorry.
What's it called? Anyway, the Dark Team have a crystal ball. They have a crystal ball technology.
Oh, the bad guys.
Yeah. And they've been passing it around, and like they use it like this. They go, okay, so I'm in this situation. If I jump left, what's the outcome? And then they get a vision. If I jump right, what's the outcome? And then they get that vision, right? And they've got this thing where they can see just a few days into the future, And so if they make this statement publicly, it'll work well. If they make that statement publicly, it won't work well. And so they've kind of been using this on this point, and it's called Looking Glass technology. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, I was wondering if that was Looking Glass because I've heard something to that effect already. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I actually saw a YouTube by one of the Looking Glass technicians, and like there was a rumor going around that it stopped working. The Looking Glass stopped working, but what it actually meant was since we got to 2012, the Dark Team never got what they wanted. Like they never got the outcome they wanted. So they said, if we don't win, that just means that the machine's broken. It doesn't mean that's our future. We don't accept that. Right. But the Looking Glass is one of the ways they do this, right? We found so that they're always kind of one step ahead politically. They always play their very best card and they can sort of see what card you're going to play next, or the light team's going to play next. They've got a little bit of an advantage there, right?
Yeah.
And we go, so where are they getting this data from now, right? Because the Looking Glass is more or less defunct. It's not giving them any useful information anymore. And the answer we came up with was this cruiser that's orbiting Saturn. They had this space cruiser that's orbiting Saturn. It used to be in military service, but it got so beat up and so passed beyond repair that they just parked it in Saturn and used it as a space station. And they had this enormous beam that's literally, it's a tool for sucking up and absorbing light timelines. Like all of the data, all of it, it's there to shut down and steal the energy out of our most favorable short-term timelines. It's a really nasty piece of tech. But they've been there for a very, very long time. And so the staff on that ship, it's got a name, a Degregar. I think I wrote it down because I didn't have to remember it. I'm going to call it Degregar. But they had this ship, and they're so complacent. They've been there so long that our stealth team went in there and reprogrammed the machine. right? So that, yeah, and so like they're looking at the same readouts every day, and they don't, they've been doing it for, maybe hundreds of years, and they're just past caring. They're not interested in investing. And so we started to we maintained a program that gave them the information that said they were soaking up the best timelines. But actually what we got the machine to do was to soak up the worst timelines. So it's exactly opposite to what they're doing, and it's
good work.
It works in really well in tandem with the Looking Glass technology. But and they had a backup system on one of the asteroids that they hollowed out as a warehouse. But it's we shut that thing down too. So what it does is it just, the dark team are driving their car, and now that we've sort of taken one of the wheels off, it sort of leans off, it keeps driving off the road they want it to, and it'll sooner or later it'll crash completely. And we're starting to see that stuff as, politicians get arrested, politicians disappear. The Prime Minister of Australia, he's under fire he wrote himself a law that made himself basically the Emperor of Australia, where he has the powers of the Prime Minister, the Attorney General, the Health Minister, the Defence Minister, the Home Minister, etc., etc., etc. Like, so all power is concentrated in him. And this actually came out last week, that he wanted to be Emperor Scott Morrison. And every week, whereas on a different timeline, the FBI would have found what they wanted. They would have found the smoking gun in Trump's villa, right? They would have got the evidence, or they would have created the evidence that they really wanted. Instead, because the timelines and the energy are the way they are, the whole show backfired. And it looks like the beginning of the end for the FBI. It looks like actually they've given Trump's team a smoking gun. And the real question is the judiciary gonna back their friends, and are they gonna
of course,
are the judiciary gonna cheat, or are they not?
Right.
That's all they know how to do is to cheat.
It makes everybody sad,
The corruption is so runs so deep.
Come on. Nobody really cared about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Like it was just a sordid tale of two druggies fighting each other. Yeah, totally. But what was the one we really wanted to see? Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, and you didn't see any of that.
We wanted the same quantity of exposure there. That's what we really wanted. But instead we get vacuous idiots. Bickering publicly. It was really sad. And Amber Heard's using the whole feminist movement to advance her own personal gain. Like, it's ugly stuff, man. Ugly stuff. Yeah.
Well, I found out about our streaming here, if you would like to know. Apparently, we're supposed to, when we use pairing, is you do it in the event studio instead of in the regular studio. So we'll know that for next time. Unfortunately, I missed that. I didn't see that. So. But I didn't. We'll still send copies to you about them all. So we just still have to re-upload them onto the old-fashioned way. Unfortunately, yeah.
No. I love the old-fashioned way. Is what I learned to do 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'm always looking for help in terms of uploading because it can be time-consuming sometimes. But anyway, so have you been given any indication, either one of you? I know everybody wants to know, do you think this is gonna move forward in, this year, or a few months, years? I don't know. I mean, I know we can't pick a date because that just gets people in trouble, but how about if we say it this way? Will we see it in our lifetime?
Yeah, no, totally. I asked upstairs, I said, so for exactly the same question. So what are we expecting? And the answer I got is that the dark team makes 6 chess moves a day. The light team makes 6 chess moves a day. Like we don't know what the board's going to look like in 6 months. We don't know. There's so many permutations and variations. They keep confirming that our victory is totally imminent. There is absolutely no avoiding humanity reclaiming the Earth. No avoiding that. What the steps look like, how that plays out, and how we get there, total mystery. Total mystery.
Well, I wish I knew how to play chess because it might give me a better idea, but I've never played it, so I don't really, I know, because they say that, like you said, that it's imminent, that we're going to, that the win is already there, but how many moves, how long can they delay it is what I'm wondering in a game of chess. How long can you delay something when it's inevitable?
Yeah, now this is why we found Degregar, the ship Degregar. We go, what are they using to prolong their own death? What is keeping them going still? And that was the answer. Though one of the good indicators that that we're doing well is just how many planes are going down to Antarctica so that these top echelon people can get the hell off the planet before it goes sour for them. And it's a big number. There's a lot of people leaving Earth just to avoid prosecution, just to avoid punishment.
So they are aware of that, and they figure that they can escape.
And they're doing it. They're doing it. They're getting off by the plane load.
So there aren't any galactics out there that are stopping them or catching them or jailing them, or I don't know. Maybe that's just the 3D concept, right? I don't know.
No. I actually think what I'm looking forward to over the next 10 years, I don't know if you remember in the Iraq War, they had a deck of cards that had the 52 most important people in the Iraqi regime, and they set about finding those 52, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm looking forward to having a deck of cards for our elite and having our Earth agents, our Earth teams, chasing them around the local galaxy and finding them and arresting them that way. I reckon that's going to be heaps entertaining. I think that's going to be hilarious.
Yeah. Well, nothing would be better than to chase them around because they have done hunting parties with humans.
Oh, look, it'll be everyone we catch will be, it will be fireworks for humanity. There'll be fireworks and celebrations in every city. Yeah, it'll be totally gold.
Somebody's asking a question, or the Dot Connector is actually asking a question: are there ships about the world to catch them? Are they just letting them go?
I wouldn't call it ships.
I'm just checking in. The base in South and Antarctica is a Nazi base, and they have a Stargate down there, so it's not really a ship thing. They're portaling around the local galaxy.
So they're going down there and escaping, basically.
Yeah, totally. And I did see something, I don't know whether to believe it or not, like a naval battle above Antarctica back in 2006 or something like that. And they had these images of spaceships shooting lasers at each other and crazy stuff like that. I have no idea if I believe it or not. No idea. But it does fit with the exopolitics that we got. Yeah, it couldn't be wilder. This stuff just keeps getting crazier and crazier.
I know it does.
Doesn't it just make it all the more entertaining day in, day out?
It's really going to stink when that device is broken in two pieces and they can't go.
Oh no! I actually want to. I think humanity should reclaim it. We should go over there and take it off them. And when we do that, then we can read the travel logs and just send troops to follow them. I think it'll be awesome.
There's when the ice starts to fall and that surfaces to the top, and then that's when things are done with that process. So, and that I think that has to do with the core again. because they were talking about everything has to surface that's been hidden in the ground. So eventually that's going to have to happen. So I think their door of exit is going to end too, and they're going to be stuck somewhere. But they're not going to want to be.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, they can huddle in the Antarctic ice until we get round to picking them up, as far as I'm concerned.
Maybe build a little igloo or something.
Yeah, tight. Just pretend we're not here. Just pretend we're not here.
And hope there aren't any polar bears around. Somebody's asking again, too. Will Atlantis rise again, like Casey predicted? Around Bimini, I can't say that. Bimini,
I'd love to comment on that, but it's not really on my radar.
What about you, Jenny? Do you know?
What was the question again?
Will Atlantis be rising near South Florida?
Sorry. Yes, because they've always showed me South Florida, and I'm seeing all these spiritual people go there, and I just feel like they're drawing into going in that area. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel that's going to happen, but at a phase where it's safe, and then it'll surface. Like they keep saying, everything is going to surface. Everything will surface.
Does that mean Lemuria will surface too?
Everything that is below that has been hidden and deliberately hidden will have to come to the surface. And that's why they're taking these artifacts off our planet, because they have to remove all that stuff before everything really happens, because that needs to be secured in the first place. So no one can get into these devices and use them in the wrong way again. So part of our process is to make sure everything is put where it needs to be. Safely.
They moved everything around, didn't they? There's a lot of artifacts and things that are in the Grand Canyon area too. Have you ever heard anything about that, Jenny?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Have you? No.
No, me neither.
Okay.
No, not the Grand Canyon, no.
So now the question is, will the devices be destroyed when things happen with Earth changes? Wait a minute. Will the devices be destroyed when things happen with Earth changes, or be safe? They're sending me some questions from the chat.
In my mind, I think having the HARP destruction party is going to be a good party. I think one of the first things we're going to do is trash is bulldoze those HARP machines, and set fire to the chemtrail labs, or the chemtrail.
Oh my God! Yeah.
The chemtrail factories. Those things that are grinding aluminium into tiny little particles for us to breathe. Like I'm looking. There's going to be quite a few technologies that we all regard as basically anti-human.
What about 5G towers?
Yeah, they won't be missed. Already they've had bunches of them burned down.
Yeah.
The one in our local area, they drilled a hole in the tower, poured a bit of petrol in, set it on fire, and it created so much heat at the top that it melted all the circuitry, and they had to replace it. That's the area I live in. Everybody's into that sort of mood. And I remember the week that happened, everybody you talked to in town is just going, hey!
Just like I heard something about some rodent cutting through some cord and CERN or something like that, to throw CERN off, or so it wouldn't start up or whatever.
Our team went to the recent CERN firing. We showed up for that. It was quite a show, really. Mm-hmm. I did a whole video on that.
There's a lot of devices, because we weren't taught to know about it. And, as you can see, like giant bones and stuff like that, there's a lot hidden in our ground that has to come off this planet and be preserved and put into another planet where it's safe. So it can be contained in the way that it needs to be. So those devices cannot be used again. So when we get down to that process, and then like I said, that our planet has to go back into a hibernation stage also. And, we've done a lot of damage here too, so it's not just like we just keep going on and living the way we are. I mean, there's a lot of damage to repair.
Yeah. But I have faith in humanity once our leadership is actually, our leadership is, I don't know, I just call it a sane leadership. Then I think a lot of the problems that we're facing now will just be laughed off, just laughed away. Some of the fixes are so simple, it's ridiculous. And yeah.
And once all these nefarious characters are gone, they're the ones that were always blocking it or are causing even more chaos and so on. So if humanity has a chance to actually function without all the extra unconscious programming and without all the extra bad guys in there doing things that they shouldn't be doing to feed themselves, because they were all service to self.
Yeah, you get it. You get it. Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else that we want to share? Anybody?
I don't think so. I think the only thing that's, it's not a whether it's not a timeline. It's actually things are checked off the list to make sure they're completed properly. Like I tell people, this isn't an app you can go in and then you think when you get off the app, everything's going to be done. It doesn't work that way. So that's what people's mindset needs to change on, is the fact if they keep looking at the TV and the 3D concept, they're going to be so confused anyway. Stop looking at that and thinking that's your true inspire.
Yeah, that's not your north of truth. Yeah. If you orient yourself on that north, you're going to get lost very quickly.
Yeah, but they tend on going back into it and listening to it again, and it's just like, what are you doing? Stop looking at a view that doesn't exist. It's just a show. But it's the habits and routine that they keep going back into. And if they sit there and feel and listen to frequency and watch nature, watch our earth, how it's changing, that is telling you more than what the lying TV is telling you.
Oh, it takes a lot of mental gymnastics for those guys to keep believing what the TV is telling you. Like, there's so many contradictions, it hurts. There's so much misinformation, it's ridiculous. But,
I think they're going to start recognizing it more and more all the time because of the light codes that are coming onto the planet. It's going to get to the point where they just can't deny it. I mean, it just
doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah, they're going to see so much. They're going to start seeing more.
Negative has less food. The negative has less food to work off now. They're starving now. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I tell people, no matter what it is, stop staying out of the trigger mode. They're there to trigger you, to put you in fear, to use that energy. And if you completely dismantle that, they're going to starve more and starve more and starve more. And that's what we need.
Yeah. It's like telling yourself too, I don't do anger anymore. Or, purifying our reactions and actions in general. And not that, not that you don't fight bad guys, but just that, just being in your heart and being in the now. I guess being in the heart is the most important thing.
Being out of fear. And being ultimately out of fear. I think that's what they really have to look at. The illusion of 3D is a fear concept.
Yeah, the system is built to create fear in you, to sustain fear in you, and to feed off that fear in you.
There you go, right there. Feed off of it.
The sooner you uncouple from that, the less fear, the happier you'll be, and the easier your life will be, and the harder it will be for the nefarious characters who are trying to mismanage and rule our world.
Well, do you think that eventually all these nefarious characters are on their way out? They're going to be gone. People aren't going to be influenced by them after a while. Is that true?
Well, yeah, like our teams are one of the groups. There's more. We're not the only ones out there, but one of we are one of the groups that are actively hunting them down and assassinating them where we can find them. You know, we're the ones who are destroying their infrastructure, their extra-dimensional infrastructure. We're the ones who are destroying their supply channels. We're doing everything that we find that they value, we destroy. Like, and we're not the only ones doing it. There are lots of people out there doing it.
That's good. I'm happy to
But
hear that.
it just means that the way things used to be, for them, it can never return to the way things used to be. You know, and some predictions are talking about a 25,000-year golden age. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Wow. Yeah. Well, then there's other ones that say, well, there's only going to be 1,000 years of peace and golden age, and then they go, oh, why only 1,000 years? Why not forever? I'm sorry, I don't get that.
And here's the thing that I keep coming back to. If humanity can manage Earth's energetic grids and be in constant communication with Mother Earth, then those kind of wars are very preventable. The energy for war is not, just cannot, we can circumvent that. We can be a step ahead of it and prevent it from ever happening. But, we just have to decide that we want to do that.
Yeah. And once people, DNA is more and more is activated or reconnected or whatever it is, I think a lot of these problems are going to subside, or a lot of these behaviors, because of the perception. The behavior is as a result of the perception, and when the perception changes, so will the behavior.
Exactly.
As I understand.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, all good things are coming. The future looks sunnier than it has for a long, long time.
It's really good to hear you say that. More and more people are saying that. So, and because we do get doom and gloom every so often, and we don't want it to be that way. We need to focus on what we want, not what we don't want, even though that kind of stuff it does happen, so we just ignore it though, for the most part. But what was that, Jenny?
No, I think the whole, I think if people got into their oneness, I mean, literally the oneness is you can't be messed with. You can't be mentally messed with. Nothing in your surrounding can mess with you. That's where people, they're to understand being in that temple in your head and not being unfuckable. And I mean in the way that they cannot fuck with you. Okay? Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the rewards of self-healing, to become unfuckable with.
Yes.
Unfuckwithable.
Unfuckable. Oh, are we bad for saying that? Anyway. All right. That's actually a good thing. It's just like they say that if you get to the point where what somebody says about you, what somebody, some opinion about you or anything like that, it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't affect you. You don't give them power, give away your power by allowing that to bring your vibration down, because that's what the intention is when that's done. So anyway. Okay, I don't know if we have anything else to add, or we want to call
I think
it a wrap.
We covered a big area and all that, so I think we're good.
Good to go. Okay. All right.
Good to see you both.
It's nice to see you, and keep up the wonderful work, everybody. I really appreciate it, and so does the planet, and the people that don't even know what you're doing. So I'll thank you for them. Anyway, okay. Yeah, with that, and with letting people know that great things are coming forward. It's not, don't believe all the chaos and ugliness that you're seeing as the way it's going to be. It's not. And focus on what you want and stay positive, healthy, and happy. Okay. All right. So I guess that's a wrap. Anybody have anything else they want to add? No?
I think.
All righty then.
Be at peace, everybody.
We'll see you again. Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Ciao for now.
We'll stay.